Hi children, how are you all? Are you all fine? Hope you all are fine and well. Okay, let's begin our subject essays and chapter measure landforms. You know that different kind of landforms are there created by the sea waves, wind, and that different kind of landforms created by floating ice also. So you already know that there are two kind of forces are there, that endogenic and exogenic forces are there. So by these all forces you can see that some that landforms form. You know that some shapes are given to the landforms by these all forces. Weathering is that in erosion that are a part of such kind of that force and that help in shaping and modifying that landforms. That weathering and erosion they are some such part. So they frame this kind of landforms. Weathering is the process. Weathering is the process by breaking up and disintegrated of the rocks. It is process by breaking and disintegrations of some rocks on the surface of the earth. Means that weathering means some rocks will be broken and disintegrations of rocks. It may be caused by water, ice, and wind. These disintegrations can be happen by the wind, air, and by ice can also. So the climate always change, and weathering it happens only at one place at three moments, and there is no movement of that broken rocks from that one place to another place. It is generally formed by erosion. That generally that erosion forms some landforms. The carrying away of some removal of a top layer of the earth, I mean soil, with broken that weathering rocks particles by action of wind and water and sea waves and the moving ice called erosion. So that removal of tear layer by the action of wind, ice and water. So it is called that erosion. So now we'll see further landforms that created by the rivers. So the earth receives that water from rainfall, and some rain waters on the surface of the earth. Some rainwater will enter in underground water inside the earth. So it is called that underground water. The water is on the earth. It is called that surface means groundwater. You can see that. Many that tributaries that join to form a river, and the origin of a river is called that source. The river, whenever it will begin, that origin it is called that source, and it finally flows into the sea. You know that all rivers that finally flows in the sea from its origin. So the opening of that is called that source. The place where a river meets the sea or ocean called its mouth. Whenever the river will start from any mountain, that is that source, it is called source, and the river mixed with the mid with the sea, that is called that mouth. So the area drained by a river and its tributary is called a river basin. The area which was drained by the river and its tributary is called that basin. A river plays major role in shaping the earth's surface. A river plays major role in shaping the earth's surface. That that erosion, then transportations, and that deposition. These are the three ways that river forms, that land forms. So these are the three ways. The erosions are there, transportations and the deposition. So the course of river, the course of a river, the entire direction of a course of a river from source to mouth is divided in three stages. The entire course of a river from its source to its mouth is divided in three stages: the upper course, the middle course, and the lower course. The upper course, the middle course, and the lower course. The upper course, we'll talk about the upper course. The upper course of a river is near to its origin in the mountain. The upper course of a river is very near to its origin when it begins from the mountain. Here the slope is there and the land is steep and the river carries that less water. Here the slope is there. That's why the river carries that less amount of water. Thus it flows like a narrow stream. From that source, there is a slow amount is there, slope is there. River flows with less water, so there is a slope. So it flows like a stream. Then the shape, V-shaped valley. Sometimes these flowing rivers that form that V-shaped valley, and it narrow and deep with steep sides, taking the sides of the ladder, and it formed like a V shape. When river erodes the rock sideways, then this time V-shaped valley is formed. Gorge. Second thing is gorge. A gorge is a deep and narrow valley with steep rocky walls. Gorge is a deep narrow valley with the steep rocky walls. It is also located between the hills or mountains. It is narrow valley and located by the hills or the mountains, and it is usually formed when a river erodes hard rocks vertically. It is formed when the river erodes that all rocks vertically. Then canyons. Canyon is there, a large side of that steep wall, and float bottom. A valley is formed that is called Canyon Valley. This is in that Colorado in USA. Then examples of this Cairns Valley. Waterfall is there. A waterfall, generally a waterfall is formed from the mountain, it falls. So when a cascade of a water falls from a great height over a steep valley sides, that is called that waterfall. It falls with a great speed from the mountains or cascade of a great height. When water falls down, that is called that waterfalls. In North America and the Victoria Falls are there. In Africa, that V-shaped valley is there. Then that waterfall is there during that Victoria Falls. Then in Africa, Zambia, the greatest waterfall. Then that the middle course is there, the upper course, then middle course. The middle course of a river is found in the gently sloping. The middle course of river you can find just gently sloping of the land of plains. Here it collects more water from the tributaries. So here this valley, that valley style river coming, it creates and it generates more water that from the tributaries, and it becomes wider, slower, and forms various landforms. In the middle course, it forms various landforms that slow happen and more amount of water will flow in river. It also forms various landforms. So some forms are created like U-shaped valley, meanders and oxbow lakes, and you can flood plains, natural levees. These all can be formed. So first of all, we'll see U-shaped valley. U-shaped valley is formed. It has deep sides and the curve inside. Then the base of valley walls like the taking the steep of the ladder that U. The water flows from the U shape is from a V shaped valley, and on that U shape the water flows with the speed and curve inside that base of the valley that wall taking the shape of letter U, that is called U shaped valley, and it erodes and widens. Then meanders and then oxbow that lakes. A meander is simply a bend in slow moving that rivers. It formed that due to the erosion. It is a that meander is like a river, slow form, and it's shaped like that formed due to the erosion, transportation, and deposition. It can formed by erosion, transportation, and deposition. Due to the contents that erosion and deposition, the meandering loops become that almost circular movement, and their ends come to close each other. The circular loop of the meander that is left behind that completely cut off that main channels, and this is known as oxbow that legs. It cut from completely from the main that channels, and it formed that oxbow legs. Flood plains are there. Flood, we are generally familiar about that flood. During the rainy season, the river gets lot of amount of that water in it and overflows and the flood can adjust the area. Then when the river water sides and sediments and slides over the materials it left behind, the coastal porous materials such as the gravel, crates deposited, and the river banks by smoother one that slip and clay deposited that further forming the flood plains. Floods of the river, it contains a lot of material with them. When floods spill over, it forms flood plains. Natural that levees, now we'll say, but natural levees are elevated slopes formed due to deposition of sediments and slates and other materials are there. So because of that, it forms close to a river bank over time, and this act of that natural walls can that help to direct flow of the water. So natural levees related form the slopes, and in the slopes the water falls and it deposited and materials close to the river bank over a long time, and the act of that natural walls happen that can help direct flow of the river. That is called natural levees. Okay, next thing is that lower course of a river. You can see that the lower course of a river in the plains, here the river becomes that sluggish partly, and because of the slope, the land partly because of force which reduces. Here the river becomes sluggish and the force will happen reduce. The amount of water was more here, and the force which flows that reduces, hence cannot carry that heavy loads. Here the river cannot carry heavy loads because of the slow that speed, so it deposits that our materials and more deposit of sediments in that mouth, so it forms that lower course. Delta, delta is a triangular that shapes and length, that is the formula by the between that tributaries and that distributaries near the mouth of a river. Near the mouth of the river, the delta is formed, that in a triangular shape the river forms that length, that is called delta. The Greek alphabet, that triangular shape, and with the river Ganga and Brahmaputra that form the largest delta in the world. Story is there that all the rivers do not form that delta. All the rivers are there, they do not form that delta, but a river which does not form that delta directly flows in that opening, and that at its mouth it gradually widens, and the funnel shape is there. The opening of the mouth of the river is called that estuary. So that all the rivers, they did not fall in the river. They did not form that delta. So from its source to the mouth, it's without that delta it forms. So that funnel shaped opening of that mouth of the river and is called that estuaries. River do not form that delta and do not form delta, and directly it flows, and the narrow opening of its mouth which gradually that widens, we can see that into a sea, and its funnel shaped that opening at the mouth of the river is called that estuary. So this is that the estuary. So that rivers, you can see that landforms created by that rivers, course of river, upper course, middle course and lower course. In upper course that U-shaped valley, gorge, canyons, waterfalls we are seeing. Then middle course, U-shaped valley, meanders, oxbow that lakes, floodplains, natural levees, and lower course, that is delta and estuaries. So these are the forms of that landforms created by the rivers. I hope